Good morning, little children. So in our maths, we're starting a slightly different aspect of measure. I'm looking at the area of rectangles. So let's read through this yellow box, and just a reminder that the yellow box is something that you can refer back to throughout the whole exercise. It's good if you can to have it handy, because it can refresh your mind if you get a little bit forgetful or confused about what's going on. So in the previous exercise, we found how to calculate the area of a rectangle by counting boxes. But we can find the area by the use of a formula or a rule. Okay, so the yellow rectangle opposite measures 4 centimetres by 2 centimetres. Now, just a reminder, this is different from a perimeter. So when you're measuring a perimeter, you use adding. But when you're measuring an area, you use multiplying. You use your tables. Okay, so to find its area in centimetres squared by counting all the boxes, there are 8 boxes. Okay, now when we can use multiplication to find the area, which is 4 times 2, and 4 times 2 is 8, so it gives you the same answer. So you can use this formula: A, which is the area, equals L times B, length times breadth. And you can do this with any square or rectangle. So here's a box. A equals L times B, so A equals 5 times 3, so A equals 15. And remembering that when you're doing area, it's centimetres squared with a little 2 just above and after the M. Okay, so let's start exercise 2. Now, it is asking you to draw a rectangle. I'm going to say to you, I'm not really that bothered about you drawing a rectangle. There are lots of reasons why I'm going to say that, but the primary one is it's quite difficult to do if you don't have squared paper. I know that some of you don't have squared paper. So because of that, I'm going to say, unless you think it is actually going to help you, don't bother drawing it. Okay, now the reason it wants you to draw it is because it wants you to make the boxes so that you can count them. But I'm going to say we're not going to do that. Okay, that's a lot of work to count each box, to draw the boxes, to be sure the boxes are accurate. If you had squared paper, and as I say, not that many of you have squared paper, I would be much more, yes, we're all going to do this. But I know some of you are using completely blank paper, and some of you are using lined paper, and these are not helpful. Okay, so we're going to just use the formula. And the formula is 6 times 3. So A equals L times B, and which is 6 times 3, and remember your centimetres squared. Okay, 2 is exactly the same. Area equals L times B. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to go up to number 3. So calculate the area of the rectangles here. I'm not asking you to draw the rectangles. C is a square, and I'm going to see if you can get that yourselves. If you don't, I will put when you submit your work, I will give you an explanation. But I think some of you will be able to work it out, and I want to give you that opportunity to do that. Okay, so we're doing questions 1, 2, and 3